Where were you on 9/11? Do you remember what you were doing?
On 9/11, I was at my desk at our office in Washington Theological College, and we had 60 priests in town for a kind of professional day, 60 chaplains, and they were about 10-minute walk away, and they had stayed overnight. And someone came in and told me about the first hit, World Trade, and I just pictured it was a fluke, something happened. Then they came in about the second hit, so I ran over to the retreat house where our priests were. Of course, they were stunned, all staring. And we watched the towers fall. We celebrated Mass at the regular time. That was a rather solemn Mass, you can imagine, because some of these priests were, they were all chaplains, and some came from far off, others were right in the Washington area, and were connected with the Pentagon too. So the first thing I wanted to do was go home, but there was no transportation. They couldn't approach the Pentagon. They were getting messages from their commanders, we need our chaplain, where is our chaplain, and so forth. So within a day or two, most of them were able to get back. We lost one fine general, one of the Pentagon, the plane hit right into his office. He was a Eucharistic minister and so forth. And it was just General Maud, Timothy Maud. So it was a busy time for our priests, and I think a wonderful indication of their effectiveness as pastors to their flock, because the military kicked into high gear immediately, and a lot of counseling had to be done, a lot of confessions heard, a lot of people returned to the church, and it was a very valuable moment for our military families to have their priests so close to them.
What was your initial response? Were you able to be with some of the chaplains, or were you able to go to the Pentagon? Or?
No, that was off limits, and the initial response was stay out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Too much good was being done for me to get in the middle of things. I was just available to our priests, and kept in touch with them by phone, and would see them. We had regular gatherings at our house anyway, every month, and I think it was 2 Sundays later, we had a great turnout, and all kinds of stories were being exchanged, encouraging each other. So it was being a New Yorker too, it had an extra punch for me. Thank goodness I did not know directly anybody up there, as I did General Maud. But I know parishes, my priest friends' parishes, some of them had 30, 40, 50 funerals over the next couple of months.
How did you help the chaplains as they're dealing with they had all this thrown on them at one time? What kind of support did you offer?
They're pretty strong, they're resilient, resourceful, instincts were right. They didn't need any special assistance from me except to know of my concern, and looking forward to our gathering that Sunday night, which was very, very helpful, very valuable.
Looking back from 10 years, what kind of lessons do you think have been learned from 9/11?
Justice had to be done, and I am kind of surprised that we still are over there in Afghanistan. Hope it doesn't last much longer. I think we accomplished our mission, getting rid of the effectiveness and lowering the effectiveness of the terrorists over there. Our problem, our challenges are local terrorists too. We can't let down our guard. We have to keep our civil liberties, but still be sure that we are tracking very closely anyone who is aiding and abetting terrorist cells anywhere. I think we've learned that lesson. I think we can become somewhat relaxed about the whole thing. And I think the celebration of the anniversary is a good wake-up call. We have to keep our guard up and be strong in both home defenses and collaborating with our allies overseas.
How do you address a topic like forgiveness in the wake of something like this, when so many people are more focused on revenge, or they're so wounded by what happened? how do you encourage forgiveness, or how do you even look at
Well,
that?
I think hatred is a bad thing, and I don't think anything justifies hating another human being. But I think we have to be sure that those who have done a dastardly deed like that are brought to justice. That's not in conflict with forgiveness. Let's preach lack of hatred, but also our need to bring to justice those who are still plotting and those who have plotted.
We've also seen some discrimination against Muslims as well. Can you talk about?
Yeah, that's a pity. I've known many Muslims over the years, especially working with the military. Extremely friendly and hospitable. They have a lot of lessons to teach us on warmth and hospitality and welcome. But this is obviously a cancer within them. My one regret is that a lot of the good Muslim leadership has not spoken out more strongly against terrorists and would-be terrorists. Maybe they have. I've just not heard their voices. But we have to be very careful about generalizing against any religion. We've run into that in the past too much. The Second World War, and I think we have to encourage our Muslim friends to stay true to their religion, and any parts of that religion that could be ambiguously interpreted as justifying what was done, I think have to be explained and not given justification.
How do you think our country is different 10 years down the road from 9/11?
Well, we've lost a lot of good people during 9/11, and a lot more since, as our casualties are mounting in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm always concerned that with the volunteer forces in the military, American people can say, okay, we'll pay for them over there, but we go about our business as if nothing happened. And I do encourage our parishes to display pictures of those parishioners and those relatives of parishioners who are overseas in harm's way. I encourage our parishes to pray for peace during the general intercessions and to pray for those who are struggling and sacrificing greatly to maintain peace. And that's what I think our military is. That it's a peacekeeping community. No one wants peace more than they do. And I think our whole life has changed, and you can see that in any airport and all the security measures that are being taken. I give great praise to our defense community and the many different steps that are being taken that we're unaware of to keep us safe. We're paying in many ways for it, but it's got to be worth the price, I think.
Is our church different in any way because of 9/11?
I don't know if our church is different. I think there's a worthy debate theologically and morally as to the justification of our involvement in Iraq and Afghanistan. But I think the church reflects society in general in that regard. Just being conscious of what might be around the corner and being prepared for whatever it is, militarily, politically, and certainly spiritually. And I hope it's made more of us rely on the good Lord and His providence, and returning to some very basic values as a country, and the church being clear as to what those values should be.
Any other thoughts?
No, I think I'm not sure if September 11th will impress us as the first one did. There was a general daze, I think, almost the paralysis in our communities for days after and for weeks after. People were stunned, didn't realize the extent of the damage that was done, and that's certainly what I felt. I think the church was very helpful in dealing with that with our parishioners too, and keeping in focus as to the basics of Christian life can't be sacrificed when something like that happens. But every life has to end. It's a shame when they end tragically at the hands of evil people, and that's what did happen. And we're brought, I think, to a new awareness of the presence of evil in the world, the presence of sin, of hearts that can be so distorted as to take another human life. And I would hope that the value of human life is more deeply appreciated. We keep talking about that value, and an incident like that, which took so many innocent lives, should remind us all that every life is sacred in God's eyes from the very beginning. I'm not sure we're ever even closer to that realization now than we were 10, 11 when it comes to the unborn, when it comes to other areas where life is cheap and where we avoid encountering the needs of human beings in many different. We speak about the poor, about the immigrants. I would think we should be concerned about anyone who is calling out for help. Else,
Talked a lot about in the past couple of years about the reduction of nuclear weapons and that bringing about world peace. But you just talked about evil people in the world doing acts like this. We've seen suicide bombers. We've seen all of those kinds of individual terrorists. Are those people just as much a threat to world peace as nuclear weapons are?
It's difficult to make that. Nuclear weapons, any weapon in the hand of a criminal or an evildoer, is a threat to peace. Our hope is to reduce and then do away with nuclear weapons in time, so that rogue nations don't get hold of them, so that individuals are prevented from capturing them and threatening us with them. But until then, as a temporary deterrent, I don't see nuclear weapons intrinsically